I never planned to keep secrets from my son. But life has a funny way of pushing you into corners you never expected to stand in. When Daniel told me he was getting married, I was over the moon. I'd been praying for years that he'd find someone who truly loved him, someone who'd build a real family with him. And when he introduced me to Emily, sweet voice, polite smile, perfect posture, I thought, finally, my boy found a good one. But that was before I learned just how good she was at pretending. Back then, everything looked picture perfect. Daniel was glowing, Emily acted like she adored me, and her mother, Vivian, had that kind of smile that felt too polished to be real. But I ignored it. I wanted to believe the best. I always do. When Daniel and Emily decided they wanted to stay in my house after the wedding, I didn't even hesitate. The place was too big for me anyway, and having life in it again felt comforting. I told them they could move in, but I didn't tell them the house wasn't part of some future inheritance or family deal. The house was mine, fully, legally, completely mine. No shared paperwork, no hidden clauses, no signatures missing. All mine. And thank God I kept that detail quiet. After the wedding, things shifted faster than I could process. Emily went from, "Can I help you with dinner, Mom?" to, "We prefer to eat in our room." And Vivian? That woman treated my house like it was a hotel she owned. Every time she visited, which was way too often, she'd make suggestions like, "Maybe this couch should go. This room could be turned into a nursery. You don't really need this dining set, do you?" It felt like she was mentally renovating a house she didn't even live in. One afternoon, I overheard them, Emily and Vivian, whispering in the kitchen while they assumed I was outside. Vivian, she's old-fashioned. Once the title is transferred, you can decide what stays and what goes. Don't argue with her. Just act sweet. Emily, I know, Mom. Daniel thinks he's inheriting this anyway. We just need her to finalize it. And I swear, for a second, my heart stopped. Transferred? Inheriting? Finalize? What on earth were they talking about? I didn't confront them then. I wanted to observe, listen, gather. Sometimes silence teaches you more than shouting ever will. Over the next couple of weeks, Emily got bold. Not rude, not nasty, just bold. She started telling Daniel what we all should do, as if she spoke for me. She rearranged furniture without asking. She snapped at me when she thought Daniel wasn't listening. And that sweet little voice she had when they first met, gone. Replaced by sharp, clipped commands. Then came the day everything broke open. Daniel came home early, earlier than anyone expected, and walked straight into a conversation Emily and Vivian were having. I wasn't there for the full thing, but I heard enough from the living room to feel the blood drain from my face. Emily, once we get the house officially under our name, we can sell it. The market's good, and Daniel won't question it if you explain it. Vivian, exactly. Tell him it's too old for her to keep. He wants to provide for you. Use that. You deserve upgrades. Upgrades, as if I was a broken appliance. Daniel's voice shook when he said, "Sell my mom's house? Without even telling her?" Emily froze. I could hear the panic in the silence. Vivian, bold as ever, chimed in. You're married now, Daniel. These decisions are about your future family. Your mother will understand. Understand? They must. Daniel walked out of the kitchen so fast, he almost collided with me. His face was pale, his eyes wide, like someone had just told him gravity didn't exist. Mom, he whispered, is the house even legally yours? I nodded slowly, every inch of it. His shoulders sagged with relief and guilt. That's when Emily strutted out, acting like she could charm her way out of literal betrayal. We were just talking, Daniel. You misunderstood. Before Daniel could respond, Vivian stepped out behind her, cool, collected, fake smile glued on her face. We're just trying to help build your future. I wanted to scream. I wanted to shake both of them. But instead, I took a breath and said, Daniel, go to your room. I need a moment alone with your wife and her mother. He didn't argue. That boy knew my tone, the one I only used when the world was about to shift. As soon as he disappeared down the hall, the masks came off. Emily rolled her eyes. Vivian crossed her arms. They looked at me like I was an obstacle, a piece of furniture in their way. What exactly are you trying to pull? Vivian asked snidely. I smiled, a calm, dangerous smile, the kind that lets people know they just stepped onto thin ice. And I said, I think we need to talk about who actually owns this house. Vivian's smirk faltered the second I said that. Emily tried to recover first, flipping her hair like she still had the upper hand. Okay, so what? She said, with that fake confidence she always used when she was cornered. We all know Daniel is your only child. Obviously, the house is going to be his. And when you pass it on to him, it becomes ours. So what are you even implying right now? Her arrogance was wild. Vivian chimed in, sounding even more entitled. You raised a good son, but you hover too much. It's time to step back. Married couples need space. And legally, transferring the house sooner rather than later just makes sense. For everyone. I raised a brow. Everyone? Vivian shrugged like she was talking to an employee. Well, yes, Emily's the wife now. She should feel secure. And you should be happy. Someone wants to keep this old place in the family. Old place. The same old place she'd been eyeing like a jackpot. I didn't react. I just walked past them calmly, grabbed a folder from the side table, and set it on the kitchen island. Slowly, quietly, letting the weight of that gesture sink in. Emily frowned. What's that? My house, I said. On paper, on record, in black and white. And if either of you had bothered to ask instead of scheming behind closed doors, you would have known that. Vivian jabbed her chin out, pretending not to be rattled. And what exactly does that prove? We all assume Daniel's name was on it somewhere. That's normal for a... I slid the property papers out and tapped the signature lines. Read it. Emily stepped forward, scanned it, and her face dropped so fast it looked like she'd been punched. It's only your name, she whispered. Yep, I said. Just mine. No co-owner. No beneficiary listed. No transfer pending. Not even a memo tied to it. I leaned forward slightly. This house is not Daniel's, and it is definitely not yours. It is mine. Vivian's composure cracked right down the middle. So you're what, refusing to leave anything to your own son? I laughed softly. I didn't say that. But what I am refusing is manipulation. Emily crossed her arms tight, We weren't manipulating you. Oh, sweetheart, I said gently. You weren't even subtle. Her lips pressed into a hard line. She hated being called out, especially by someone older who saw right through her. Vivian stepped closer, lowering her voice like she was delivering some big, threatening truth. You're being unreasonable. Your son has a wife now. He needs a future that doesn't rely on you clutching onto a house you barely use. I stared at her. You're not confused. You're bold. But let me clear something up for you. I rested my hand on the counter and spoke slowly, every word slicing through the kitchen like a knife. I don't owe you anything. Not my home, not my silence, not my trust. Emily scoffed. We were just planning ahead. Planning ahead? I repeated. Or planning around me? Neither of them answered, which was answer enough. Just then, I heard footsteps. Daniel reappeared in the doorway, his face tight, like he'd been wrestling with every emotion a man could feel at once. Mom, is everything okay? I turned to him. Yes, sweetheart. Everything is just fine, but you might want to hear this. Emily spun around fast. Daniel, she's twisting things. Mom and I were just... Daniel held up a hand. Stop. I heard enough before you even knew I was home. She went pale. Then he asked me quietly, Mom, why didn't you ever tell us the house was still yours? I looked at him. My boy. The same kid who used to run into the kitchen with mud on his shoes and 1,000 questions in his head. Because I never wanted this house to be a reason for fights, I said softly. I wanted you to build a marriage without worrying about assets and titles. I didn't want you choosing sides. I thought keeping it quiet gave you both peace. He swallowed hard, and instead, they took advantage of it. Emily whipped around. We didn't take advantage. Your mom is... Daniel's voice cracked like lightning. Emily, I heard you. I heard everything. You were planning to transfer her house without even asking her. How do you defend that? She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Her excuses had run dry. Vivian stepped in, grabbing Emily's arm like a PR agent trying to manage a scandal. We should go, sweetheart. This environment isn't healthy. Daniel laughed, a short, angry sound. You're right, it isn't. Emily glared at him. You're taking her side? Seriously? I'm taking the side of the person who didn't lie to me. He shot back. That shut her up. Vivian straightened her purse strap dramatically. This conversation is going nowhere. I leaned back, calm, watching the pieces fall exactly where they were meant to fall. Oh, I think it's going exactly where it needs to, I said softly. They froze, both of them, because they could feel the shift. The power wasn't theirs anymore. It never was. As they stood there fuming in silence, Daniel whispered, Mom, what do you want me to do? I looked at him and answered the same way I had ever since he was little. Stand beside the truth, baby. The rest will fall into place. Daniel just stood there, frozen in the doorway like somebody had sucked all the air out of his lungs. Emily sat stiff on the couch, hands gripping her phone like she wanted to snap it in half. Vivian tightened her robe at the top of the stairs, chin lifted, eyes blazing with the kind of fury only a mother can carry when she feels disrespected under someone else's roof. And me? I felt my heart banging inside my chest, but I wasn't shaking this time. Not anymore. I'd already cried for this boy. I'd already begged silently in my own head for him to wake up. I wasn't begging now. Emily broke the silence first. Daniel, she hissed, her voice low and trembling. Your mother is out of control. I'm not staying in a house where she thinks she can just humiliate me. Vivian's laugh was sharp and cold. Humiliate you? Sweetheart, you've been disrespecting this woman in her own home since the day you moved in. Emily's eyes went wide. I don't have to take this. I've been nothing but patient, nothing but nice. Vivian cocked her head. You kicked her dog off the couch last week. It barked at me. It barked because you stepped on its tail. Daniel ran a hand over his face. Stop, please, both of you. I swallowed hard. Daniel, did you know she and her mother tried to get the house changed into her name behind your back? Emily sprang up. Oh my God, here we go. She told you that? Vivian, you're unbelievable. Vivian didn't flinch. I didn't have to tell her anything. Your mother did. The truth always comes out. Daniel turned toward Emily slowly, his eyes narrowing. Emily, is that true? Emily paused for 2 full seconds, and in those 2 seconds, I swear I saw her face shift from anger to fear to calculation. Daniel, she began, moving closer to him, softening her voice. Your mom misunderstood. No, Vivian cut in. She understood perfectly. Emily snapped toward me. Why do you hate me so much? I have tried with you. You're making everything harder. I finally spoke up, calm but sharp. You didn't try with me. You tolerated me. There's a difference. Daniel looked between us, lost, like a kid caught in the middle of a storm he didn't want to admit he caused. Vivian stepped down another stair. Daniel, you need to decide whose side you're on. Emily gasped. Side? Side? Daniel, babe, there shouldn't even be sides. It's us, you and me. Your mother keeps trying to sabotage our marriage. Daniel's face tightened. Emily, you've been lying to me. Emily blinked like she wasn't expecting him to catch up that fast. Lying? About what? The house, he said. About wanting it transferred. About saying my mom was unstable. About telling your mom she'd soon have the master bedroom. Emily opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. I was stressed, she stammered. Chloe said. Vivian cut her off, voice dripping with ice. Oh, please, don't drag Chloe into this. Own what you did. Emily's eyes darted to Daniel. Babe, look at me. Please. She grabbed his shirt gently, trying to guide his chin down to her. But Daniel stepped back. That was the moment everything shifted. She froze, disbelief spreading across her face. Daniel, why are you stepping away from me? Daniel looked down. I don't trust you right now. Emily's jaw dropped. What? Vivian finally reached the bottom of the stairs, arms crossed, the picture of quiet, lethal confidence. Daniel, she said calmly, your mother didn't want this fight, but you let it happen, and now she's paying the price for your choices. Daniel's voice cracked. Mom, I didn't know how bad it got. I didn't think Emily really meant all that. Emily let out a bitter laugh, wiping tears that were only half real. Wow, okay. So now I'm the villain? After everything I've done for you? Vivian raised a brow. What exactly have you done besides cause chaos in this house? Oh, shut up, Emily shouted. You're just jealous I'm close to Daniel. You're jealous I'm his wife now. Vivian's lips curled into a slow, cold smile. Jealous? Sweetheart, I raised that man. I don't need to compete with you. Daniel put his hands on his head, pacing. Stop. Please, just stop. Emily pointed right at Vivian. She is manipulating you. She's poisoning you against me. Vivian replied calmly. I'm just shining a light. You're upset because darkness hates light. Emily practically growled. You know what? I'm done with this psycho house. Your psycho mother, your psycho aunt. That's enough, Daniel snapped. And for the first time, he sounded like he meant it. Emily's mouth hung open. He turned slowly toward me. Mom, I'm sorry. I really am. I should have listened sooner. I swallowed the lump in my throat. It's not too late, but I won't be treated like dirt in my own home. Not by your wife, not by her mother, not by anyone. Emily scoffed. This isn't even your. Vivian stepped closer. Finish that sentence. I dare you. Emily's lips trembled. She stopped. Daniel took a long breath. I think you should go to your mom's for a few days, he said quietly. Emily froze like someone had slapped her. You're kicking me out? I'm telling you we need space. All three of us. Emily's voice cracked. Daniel, no! No, you can't do that. You can't send me away. Vivian's eyes softened. Just barely. He's not sending you away. He's protecting what's left of his family. Emily backed up, shaking her head in disbelief. This is unbelievable. This is insane. Daniel didn't move. He didn't argue. He didn't break. He just waited. And eventually, she grabbed her purse, stomped toward the door, and slammed it behind her, so hard the walls shook. Silence fell again. Daniel turned to me, eyes wet. Mom, what do we do now? Vivian put a hand on his shoulder. You start by telling the truth, and then you rebuild. And I felt it in my chest, for the first time in months. Maybe, just maybe, we had a fighting chance. Daniel didn't sit down right away. He just stood there in the middle of the living room, rubbing the back of his neck, like he was trying to hold his whole world together with one shaky hand. Vivian walked past him, slow and composed, and placed a throw blanket over the arm of the sofa, like nothing had happened. That woman had the emotional control of a Navy SEAL. I stayed quiet, letting the room breathe. After a full minute, Daniel finally lowered himself onto the sofa. Elbows on his knees, face buried in his hands. I messed up everything, he muttered. I don't even know how to fix any of this. Vivian sat across from him, legs crossed, looking tired but steady. Son, the only thing you messed up is timing. You didn't ruin your life. You just trusted the wrong person for too long. He shook his head. No, Aunt Viv, I trusted Emily more than my own mom. That's the part that's eating me alive. My chest tightened, but I didn't interrupt. He needed to say it. I needed to hear it. Vivian leaned forward. Daniel, nobody's asking you to punish yourself. We're asking you to grow up. He winced. She continued. You let her run this house like she built it. You let her talk to your mother like she was some maid who overstayed her welcome. Now that you've finally seen the truth, do something about it. Daniel looked at me for the first time in minutes. Mom, I swear I didn't know she was trying to get the house in her name. I thought she was joking when she brought it up. I nodded slowly. She wasn't joking, and neither was her mother. Daniel's eyes widened. Her mother was involved too? Vivian snorted. Oh, please. Linda has been stirring that pot since day one. She practically brought a measuring tape last time she visited, just to see where she put the new dining table. Daniel groaned. I sighed. She called an attorney, tried to negotiate for more time because she and Emily were struggling financially. Meanwhile, they'd been planning renovations behind your back. Daniel shot up from the couch. Renovations? On your house? Exactly, I said softly. On my house. He paced again, angrier now. Angrier in a cleaner, sharper way. Like he was seeing the whole picture for the very first time. Vivian folded her arms. Daniel, sit down. We need to talk about what comes next. He obeyed, sitting beside me this time. Close, like he used to when he was little and scared of thunderstorms. Okay, he whispered. Tell me what to do. I took a breath. You need boundaries. You need to separate your marriage from your living arrangement. And you need to stop letting Emily talk to you like you're her employee. He closed his eyes, nodding. She's intense. Vivian raised a brow. She's manipulative. There's a difference. He didn't argue. I continued. Space will help both of you. If she stays at her mom's, maybe she'll calm down. Maybe she'll see what she's risking. Vivian answered before I could. She's not worried about losing Daniel. She's worried about losing this house. Daniel winced again, like the words sliced something inside him. Mom, Aunt Viv, I don't want to lose my marriage. I leaned back a little, studying him. You won't lose it by being honest. You'll lose it by pretending nothing happened. He nodded, defeated. Just then, his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. Emily. He sighed, staring at her name like it was a ticking bomb. Vivian raised a brow. Answer it. If you don't, she'll just show up at midnight like she's staging an intervention. He exhaled and hit accept, putting it on speaker. Emily's voice exploded through the room. Daniel, I can't believe you humiliated me like that. You made me look crazy in front of your mom. Her voice cracked into a sob. You told me to leave? Do you know how embarrassing that was? Daniel rubbed his forehead. Emily, we need space. You know that. No, we don't. Your mom needs space from me. Not us from each other. This whole thing is her fault. Vivian rolled her eyes so hard the couch shifted. I stayed silent. Daniel's voice was firmer this time. I need time to think. I'm not fighting with you again tonight. Emily's voice dropped to a chilling whisper. So you're choosing her, your mother, over me? No, he said softly. I'm choosing peace. There was a long pause. Then Emily hissed, If I walk out that door tonight, Daniel, don't expect me to come back. Vivian mouthed, Promise? I shot her a look, but she smirked unapologetically. Daniel took a breath. You're at your mom's right now. You already left. Silence. Then Emily whispered, voice trembling. You're going to regret this. Click. She hung up. Daniel let the phone fall onto the couch. He leaned back, covering his face again. Vivian let out a long exhale. Well, that went exactly how I expected. Daniel didn't respond. I placed a hand on his arm. Son, I know this hurts. I know you love her. But you can't let love blind you. His shoulders slumped. I just want things to go back to normal. I shook my head gently. Normal wasn't healthy. Normal was destroying you. He finally looked at me, eyes red. Mom, I don't want to end up alone. I squeezed his hand. You won't be. You just need to stop being afraid of choosing yourself. Vivian nodded. And stop letting guilt steer the ship. Start steering it yourself. Daniel breathed out slowly. Okay, I'm trying. And for the first time that night, his voice sounded like he meant it. The next morning hit different. The house felt too quiet, like even the walls were holding their breath. Daniel didn't come downstairs until almost noon, looking like he hadn't slept more than 10 minutes. His hair was messy, his eyes were swollen, and he kept rubbing the side of his face like stress had set up camp there overnight. Vivian was already at the dining table, sipping coffee, and scrolling her phone like she lived there. She glanced up when she heard his footsteps. "Well, look at that," she said. "The prodigal son returns." Daniel managed a weak smirk. "Morning, Aunt Viv." I handed him a plate of eggs and toast. "You need to eat something." He sat down, but only poked his food. Vivian clicked her tongue. "Goy, if you don't put that in your mouth, I'm gonna feed you myself. And I don't mean." He gave a half laugh and finally took a bite. After a moment, he asked, "Did Emily call?" I shook my head. "No, not since last night." He looked down. "She always calls. She always tries to fix things right away. But this time," Vivian finished for him, "she's waiting for you to chase her. It's her favorite sport." Daniel didn't deny it. I sat across from him. "Son, we need to talk about next steps. You can't live in limbo forever." He nodded slowly. "Okay, what do I do? File for separation? Go talk to her? What?" Vivian pointed her spoon at him. "You start with boundaries, strong ones, and you stop letting her guilt trip you into losing your spine." He let out a breath. I know. I don't want this to end ugly." I spoke softly. "Sometimes ugliness comes before clarity." He looked at me, eyes heavy. "I don't want to hurt her." I reached over and squeezed his hand. "You aren't hurting her, Daniel. You're protecting yourself." He nodded again, but he still looked like a man arguing with himself inside his own skull. Just then, the front door flew open without a knock, without hesitation, and Vivian muttered, "Oh, Lord, the circus has arrived." Emily's mother, Linda, marched in like she owned oxygen. She didn't even greet anyone, just stormed straight toward me with this tight, fake smile plastered on her face. "Good morning," she said sharply. "We need to talk, privately." Daniel stood so fast, his chair screeched. "What are you doing here?" She ignored him completely. Vivian whispered under her breath, "Somebody get the popcorn." I didn't move. "If you have something to say, you can say it in front of my family." Linda's jaw clenched. "Fine. I'll make this simple." She crossed her arms dramatically. "You have escalated this situation far beyond what's reasonable. Emily is devastated. She left crying last night because of how you treated her." Daniel stepped forward. "She left because she screamed at my mom and tried to manipulate me." Linda pointed at him. "That's your version, not the truth." Vivian stood up slowly, smiling like a cat watching a mouse walk willingly into a trap. "Linda," she said sweetly, "didn't you call your lawyer 2 days ago to ask how fast you could transfer this house into your daughter's name? Didn't you tell him you were hoping to speed up the process?" Linda's eyes bulged. "I don't know what you think you know, but that's none of your business." Vivian scoffed. "Oh, honey, everything is my business now." Daniel stared at Linda. "Is that true? You were planning this behind my back?" Linda hesitated. "It was for your future, for the family, for Emily's stability." "For Emily's control," I cut in. Linda glared at me. "You're delusional if you think you're going to hold this house over their heads forever." Vivian barked a laugh. She literally owns the place. That's not holding it over their heads. That's called existing. Linda ignored her and turned back to me. Let's be adults. Daniel and Emily need this home. They're married. They're starting a life. And you're, well, past that stage. You've had your time. The implications sliced deeper than I expected. Daniel stepped in front of me, voice shaking with anger. You don't get to talk to my mom like that. Linda raised her brows. Oh, now you're defending her? Last night you yelled at my daughter. Today you're attacking me. What next? Kick us out? Vivian muttered. That's actually an excellent idea. Daniel cut in. Linda, enough. But she wasn't stopping. In fact, Linda continued, Emily wants to come home. Today. She wants to fix things. But she said she will not step foot in this house unless your mother apologizes for the disrespect. Vivian gasped dramatically. Oh my God, she thinks she has leverage. This is adorable. I stayed quiet for a moment, then stood up slowly. Linda, clearly expecting me to crumble, lifted her chin. So, do you apologize? I looked at Daniel first. His face said everything. Fear, confusion, regret, anger, sadness, all tangled together. Then I turned to Linda. No, I said calmly. Linda blinked. No? No, I repeated. I'm not apologizing for protecting my home or my son. Linda scoffed loudly. Then you're forcing Emily to end this marriage. I looked her dead in the eye. If a marriage falls apart because someone refused to hand over a house, it wasn't a marriage to begin with. Vivian whispered, Preach. Linda's face twisted in anger. You'll regret this, both of you. And with that, she spun around and stormed out the front door. For a moment, the house was dead quiet. Then Vivian clapped her hands once. Well, I don't know about y'all, but I need a drink after that performance. Daniel sank into a chair, burying his face again. Mom, what do I do now? I sat beside him steady. You stop letting them dictate the terms of your life. His voice was barely a whisper. And Emily? I exhaled. That depends on whether she wants a partner or a property. Daniel didn't leave the house for the rest of the day. He mostly paced, back and forth, up and down the hallway, around the kitchen table, like he was trying to walk the confusion out of his bloodstream. Vivian tried to lighten the move with jokes and random stories, but even she eventually gave up and said, All right, nephew, you're stressing me out. Sit down before you burn a hole in the carpet. He finally sat, elbows on the table, head in his hands. I poured him some tea and set it down gently. Talk to me. He let out a shaky breath. Mom, I don't know what's real anymore. You mean with Emily? He nodded. I don't know if she loves me, or if she loves what she wants from me. And that, he swallowed hard, that scares me. I pulled out the chair next to him and sat. You're allowed to feel scared, baby. It means you care. He shook his head. I care too much. That's the problem. I kept making excuses for her. Every time she crossed a line, I'd tell myself she didn't mean it. That she was stressed. That she was just emotional. He laughed bitterly. I basically trained myself to ignore the red flags. Vivian, sprawled on the couch with a blanket like she lived there, chimed in without looking up from her phone. Red flags? Beatty, those weren't flags. That girl was waving a whole red beach towel, shouting, Look at me! And you still squinted and said, Maybe it's pink. Daniel gave a half laugh despite himself. I nudged his arm. You didn't fail. You trusted. There's a big difference. He stared at the table. Emily texted me about an hour ago. Did you answer? I asked. No. What'd she say? He pulled out his phone and slid it across the table. I glanced down at the message. I want to come home, but you need to make this right. Mom said your mother was rude and disrespectful. I need proof that you put me first. Ask her to apologize so we can move forward. Vivian snorted so loud she startled herself. Oh yeah, that's a queen-level manipulation right there. She ain't even subtle. Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. It's always like this. She paints herself as the victim, and suddenly I'm the villain. Every argument ends with her crying, and me apologizing for something I didn't even do. I nodded slowly. Because she knows crying shuts you down. He looked at me with a mix of embarrassment and realization. Yeah, it does. I hate seeing her upset, and she knows it. Vivian sat up. That's emotional blackmail, baby. Plain and simple. Daniel's eyes dropped again. Is it really that bad? I mean, isn't crying normal? It is, I said softly. But crying to avoid accountability isn't. He leaned back, staring at the ceiling. So what do? I don't want to hurt her. You're not hurting her, I reminded him gently. You're setting boundaries. Vivian added. And if boundaries hurt her, then she ain't your partner. She's your problem. Daniel didn't respond, but I could see the truth sinking into him slowly, like water soaking into dry earth. The doorbell rang. All three of us froze. Vivian groaned. I swear, if that's Linda again, I'm jumping out a damn window. Daniel peeked through the curtains. It's Emily. He looked like someone had pressed pause on his heart. My stomach tightened. Do you want to let her in? I asked carefully. He hesitated for a long moment, then nodded. I need to hear her out. Vivian crossed her arms. You sure? Because I can stay, or I can leave, or I can hide behind a plant and pop out if she says something stupid. I'm flexible. Daniel gave a weak laugh. No, stay. I might need backup. He opened the door. Emily stepped inside slowly, eyes already glossy, shoulders hunched, like she was preparing to audition for Most Wronged Woman of the Year. Her voice was soft, shaky, too shaky. Daniel, can we talk? Vivian muttered. Oh, here we go. He guided Emily toward the living room. She kept her gaze down, clutching her purse like it contained the lost map to morality. I didn't come to fight, she said. I want us to fix this. Daniel stayed standing. Okay, so talk, she sniffled, wiping her eyes delicately. I don't know why your mother dislikes me so much. I try so hard, Daniel. And she always treats me like I'm not good enough. Vivian's eyebrows shot up. Oh, hell no. I gently grabbed her arm before she could stand and deliver a speech that would probably end with someone crying for real. Emily continued. I'm your wife. I should feel safe in your home. She looked around. Our home. Daniel's jaw tightened. This isn't our home. This is my mom's house. Emily's expression cracked like glass. You're taking her side again. There aren't sides, he said. I'm just telling the truth. Her voice rose instantly, trembling with staged emotion. I left last night because I felt attacked. Your mom insulted me. She made me feel unwanted. Vivian whispered. Girl, you insulted her. But okay, go off. Daniel cleared his throat. Emily, Mom didn't say anything to you until you snapped and started yelling. You were the one demanding she transfer the house. You were the one who brought up lawyers. Emily swallowed hard. That was my mom's idea, not mine. But you went along with it. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Silence. Then she walked toward him, slowly, reaching for his hand. Baby, I don't want to fight anymore. Just make your mother apologize so we can move past this, please. Daniel pulled his hand back. Emily froze, stunned. I could almost hear her thoughts. He's supposed to cave. He always caves. Why isn't he caving? Daniel looked exhausted, but Emily gasped dramatically. I can't believe you just said that. Vivian whispered, I absolutely can. Emily pointed toward me. She's turning you against me. Daniel shook his head. No. I just finally stopped ignoring things. Emily's voice cracked. If you won't stand with me, then what's left? He exhaled. That depends on whether you want a husband or a house. Emily stared at him like he'd slapped her. And for the first time since she walked in, she had no words. Emily didn't move. She just stood there in the center of the living room like she'd glitched. Her eyes flickered from Daniel to me, to Vivian, then back to Daniel again. You're choosing that over me? She finally whispered. Daniel raised an eyebrow. That, Emily, it's a house, a building, 4 walls. You're acting like it's some trophy. Emily let out a humorless, shaky laugh. No, Daniel. I'm acting like your wife, the woman who supposedly shares a future with you. And in that future, we're supposed to have stability. We're supposed to have a home. But instead, you're what? Protecting your mother's property like I'm some stranger trying to rob you? Vivian clapped her hands once. Oh, wow. The dramatics are drama-ing today. I elbowed her lightly. She shrugged. What? I'm stating facts. Daniel took a few steps forward, closing the space between him and Emily, just enough to force her to look up at him. You're not a stranger, Emily, he said gently. You're someone I love. But loving you doesn't mean I'll let you bulldoze my family. Emily's jaw tightened. Your mother hates me. I don't hate you, I said calmly. I hate how you speak to me. That's different. Her head snapped toward me. I don't speak to you godly. Vivian raised an eyebrow. Girl, you called her a burden yesterday. I did not. You said, Vivian listed off her fingers, maybe we should move the house into our name so she doesn't screw up our future. Why is she even living here? And I don't want to be stuck caring for her when she gets older. She paused. Oh, and my personal favorite. She needs to know her place. Emily's cheeks flushed a furious shade of red. That was taken out of context. Okay, Vivian shrugged. Give us the context then. Please. I love a good explanation. Emily looked like she wanted to scream. Instead, she pressed her palms together, breathed in sharp, and spoke with a fake calmness that made the air colder. None of you understand what it's like being the daughter-in-law. I'm always the outsider, always the one expected to bend, the one expected to adapt. Your mother, she pointed at me, her finger trembling with emotion, or anger, or both, tries to make every decision. She acts like she owns everything. Daniel blinked slowly. She does own everything. That's what we're literally talking about. Emily froze again. It was almost like her brain kept rebooting every time reality contradicted her script. She cleared her throat. So what? We're supposed to live like guests forever? Never get a say? Never have freedom in our own home? Daniel crossed his arms. We have freedom. What we don't have is entitlement. Emily laughed again. bitter this time. You know what I think? She said, voice shaking. I think you're afraid. Afraid of growing up. Afraid of standing on your own. It's easier living under mom's roof, where she pays the bills, handles everything, and you get to stay a little boy forever. Vivian gasped dramatically. Oh, she bold. Daniel's expression didn't even flinch. He just stared at Emily with a calmness that made her angrier. You done? He asked. No, she hissed. I'm not done. She turned toward me again. You didn't tell us the house was yours. You hid it. You made us believe it was being passed down. That's manipulative. I kept my voice steady. I didn't hide anything. You assumed. There's a difference. Emily scoffed. So, why didn't you tell us? Because it wasn't relevant, I said simply. And honestly, I didn't want it to influence how you treated me. She swallowed hard. And now? Now, I said gently, I'm seeing how you treat me without knowing, and it tells me everything I needed to know. Silence. Then, Emily's voice was sharp, unsteady. This is ridiculous. I am not the villain here. I'm trying to build a life with him. Why is that so hard for you all to understand? Emily's breathing got heavier. So what do you want from me? Daniel didn't hesitate. Respect. She blinked like she didn't know what the word meant. Respect? She repeated, confused. I do respect you. I said respect, Daniel corrected. As in respecting my mother, my family, my boundaries, our marriage, this home. Not trying to claim things that aren't yours. Not trying to control everything. Emily went silent because she had never considered that respect meant anything beyond what she wanted. Then her voice cracked, thin and wounded. So if I don't apologize, you're done with me? He shook his head. This isn't about apologizing. It's about realizing you crossed a line. She stepped closer to him, almost desperately. Daniel, I love you. Please, don't let all this ruin us. He looked down. I'm not trying to ruin us. He looked back up, eyes steady. I'm trying to save us. She slowly looked around the room. Me, Vivian, Daniel. The house she thought would be hers. The future she'd been planning in her head. All of it slipping. She grabbed her bag. I need space, she whispered. Daniel nodded. Take all the space you need. And for the first time since they married, she left without expecting him to follow. Emily didn't come home that night, or the next one, or the one after that. Daniel said nothing at first, just kept moving through the house, like every inch of it reminded him of the argument, and the silence that followed. Vivian checked on him twice a day, like she was his parole officer. You good? I'm fine. You lying? Yeah. By day 4, he finally sat with me on the back porch. The sky was dimming, orange and purple, sinking into the horizon. He sighed. Mom, you think I pushed her too hard? I shrugged softly. I think you finally pushed back. That's not the same thing. He stared at the yard for a long moment, rubbing his thumb across his palm, a habit he had since he was a kid. I don't want my marriage to fall apart, he admitted, but I also don't want to lose myself in it. And you shouldn't, I said. No relationship should cost you you. Vivian stepped outside carrying lemonade, like she sensed the moment needed emotional hydration. So, she asked Daniel, wife still MIA? He shot her a flat look. Yes, Vivian, she's still MIA. She sat anyway. Well, She'll either come back ready to talk like an adult, or she'll come back ready to blow the place up. 50-50. Daniel groaned and buried his face in his hands. Thanks, super helpful. Vivian patted his shoulder. That's what cousins are for. 2 more days passed. Still no Emily. But then, on the 7th night, just when the air felt too quiet to be normal, the doorbell rang. Vivian leaned over the couch, whispering, "Place your bets, Emily or Amazon." "Vivian," I warned. She zipped her lips, but winked. Daniel opened the door slowly. Emily stood on the porch, eyes puffy, hair messy, wearing sweats and a hoodie, like she'd been hiding out in a bunker. His voice softened instantly. "Emily." She stepped inside, without asking, without speaking, without even looking at me. She just walked into the living room and sat down like she was bracing herself for impact. Daniel sat across from her. I stood near the hallway, giving them space, but listening in case it went sideways. Finally, Emily looked up. Her voice cracked. "I didn't leave because I was angry," she said. "I left because I was embarrassed. That I didn't expect." She wiped her face. I kept thinking about everything I said, everything I demanded, and it just hit me hard. I sounded entitled, selfish, and honestly, kinda cruel. Vivian mouthed, "Kinda?" but I smacked her arm lightly. Emily continued, "I always thought marriage meant taking control of your future, making sure you feel secure. But somewhere in that, I forgot the part where you're supposed to build, not take." She looked at Daniel. "I wanted the house because I thought it meant stability. I never thought about how it would feel for your mom to hand over something she worked her whole life for." She swallowed thickly. "And I definitely didn't think about how much it would hurt you." Daniel's shoulders dropped like a weight slid off. "I just wanted you to respect us," he said gently. "My mom doesn't ask for much." Emily nodded. "I know. I see that now. And I'm sorry for all of it, for disrespecting you, for disrespecting her, for trying to push myself into something that wasn't mine." She turned toward me, really turned this time. Her voice was calmer, sincere. "Mrs. Lopez, I'm sorry. I said things I shouldn't have. I acted like the house was owed to me, like your space, your life, your years of work didn't matter. That wasn't fair, and I'm sorry." I looked at her for a long beat, and in that moment, I believed her. Not because she cried, not because she apologized, but because this was the first time her voice sounded like truth instead of performance. I sat down slowly. "Emily, I don't hate you. I never did. I just need to know you're not going to treat me like someone who's in your way." She nodded quickly. "I won't. I promise. And if you ever feel like I'm slipping, tell me." Vivian snapped her fingers. "Okay, Emily, growth. I see you." Daniel shot her a look. She shrugged innocently. Emily took Daniel's hand. "I want us, but not the version where I'm bulldozing you. I want the version where we're partners." He squeezed her hand tighter. That's all I ever wanted. For the first time in weeks, his smile looked real. Things didn't magically go perfect overnight, but they shifted. Emily stopped treating the house like something she needed to conquer. Daniel stopped avoiding hard conversations. I stopped bracing myself every time she opened her mouth. Vivian stayed Vivian. We can't fix everything. 3 months later, Emily and Daniel came to me one morning with papers. I raised a brow. "What's this?" Daniel grinned. "Our lease." Emily nodded proudly. "We found an apartment nearby. We want to start our marriage in our own space, not yours. That surprised me, but in the best possible way. Daniel continued. We'll still visit. We'll still be around. But we want to build something that's ours, without stepping on what's yours. My heart warmed. That, I said softly, is exactly how it should be. And just like that, peace returned. Not because I won, not because they lost, but because we all learned something. Respect protects relationships more than ownership ever will. Emily grew up. Daniel stepped up. And I finally got to breathe in my own home again. Today, when I sit in my favorite chair with my morning coffee, I smile. Not because everything is perfect, but because everything is finally healthy. And that, after everything, is the real happily ever after.